Michael, so you're saying at the end of this video I can keep all these three, right?
Let's talk about that later.
Okay. We've got the Razer Blade, we have the new Dell XPS 15, and of course, no laptop comparison would be complete without the very shiny, very expensive MacBook Pro 15. Run me through the main differences between these.
Okay, so this side, the Razer Blade, is the most game-oriented machine. The main reason for that is its the onboard graphics, which is the Nvidia GeForce GTX 1060, the most powerful one here. It's full desktop spec, and it also is VR ready. If you're looking for a pure gaming machine to take on the road, it's probably the best bet.
Okay, so Razer Gaming, that makes sense. Now talk me through the new XPS 15. This is the 9560 model, so we've got Kaby Lake, we've got the GTX 1050, so almost as good gaming as the Razer possibly.
Well, it holds an amazing middle ground in terms of performance, and it is the lowest priced laptop here for equivalent specifications. Yeah, so you've got the full quad-core Kaby Lake processor, and the GTX 1050 graphics is a very capable performer at 1080p if you don't crank up the graphics to maximum. I mean, you'll get decent frame rates from all sorts of games, including GTA 5 on high settings, which is really quite impressive. And again, it's built like a tank, but doesn't cost the earth.
I also love how thin those bezels are. So it's a 15.6-inch laptop in a 14-inch sort of compact size.
Yeah, indeed. And it's actually the lightest laptop on test if you choose the specification with the slightly smaller battery. So that's also something to take into account.
So we've got gaming, we've got great all-rounder, and then we've got the new MacBook Pro 15.
It is the best built laptop here. The design is...
It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's beyond reproach. There's no gaps. Everything just fits together. It is relatively light. It's thin. It has everything going for it physically. Software, again, is excellent. We know the benefits of macOS. It is a very cohesive ecosystem. It works with the hardware brilliantly. It's got that weird touch bar that the jury is kind of still out on, if I'm honest. The other thing that most people don't really talk about a lot is the power of Thunderbolt 3. You have 4 Thunderbolt 3 ports on this thing, all running at full speed. So you can have all the peripherals you could imagine attached to this thing and have the ultimate workstation.
For a lot of people, that's going to put them off. You're going to have to carry adapters with you all the time. Let's move on to sort of just raw performance and specs. I mean, what's the most powerful here? So
the most powerful laptop here is the Razer Blade, and that's down to the graphics more than anything else. It actually has a slightly older processor. They're both running the i7-6700HQ, which is a quad-core chip with hyperthreading, so 8 threads.
And this is where the Dell takes the lead, really?
Yeah, so it's a 7700HQ, again, with 8 threads. All have 16 gig of RAM. So yeah, in terms of processing performance, they're all very similar. The Dell takes it just by having newer hardware.
And I guess that also translates to battery life. Kaby Lake and the new Pascal card in both of these means you probably have more efficient hardware, better battery life. You're looking at about 10 hours on the Dell in my experience.
Yeah, and I think it's possible. It depends on the workload, which is often the case. The controversy surrounding the MacBook Pro 15 is often down to people misjudging the workload that they're going to be performing. I wouldn't say it's always user error. I think Apple has done a poor job in communicating battery life and actually having the hardware switching between low power and full power modes. While none of them are all-day workers when you're doing video editing, they certainly have the potential to run for 6 or more hours. So
through the power of editing, we've flipped these around because now we're going to talk about the displays, the screens. They're quite different, aren't they?
Yeah, and I think they kind of rank in order of quality. So you get a choice of displays on this one: Full HD, QHD+. Fine, really deserves to be plugged into an external monitor though.
Doesn't look great.
It's not brilliant, which is a shame. Full HD and 4K options on this one. Again, fine, better than the Razer, larger as well because that only has a 14-inch screen. It's fine, but again, I think an external monitor is something that you would want if you're working with video, photos, and professionally.
But you also do get a 4K option on this, which is also a touchscreen.
Yes.
And it's an IGZO panel, so that could be better for creative professionals, but that's also then very glossy and has a big impact on your battery life. So you're going to want to weigh up whether you want Full HD or 4K. Yeah. But you have the option. So what about the MacBook?
Well, I think with the MacBook, it's kind of an all-in-one kind of solution because the screen is so good. The 2880 by 1800 Retina display, the color coverage is unmatched by anything we've seen before, and I think will continue to be so, which explains a lot of the price difference actually between these three.
So speaking of price, how much are we talking about for the Razer Blade?
So you're looking for a Full HD model just under £2,000.
That's an awful lot of money.
It is a lot of money, especially when you compare it to this, which starts at $1,349 for a Core i5 model, or the recommended model that we would go for is the $1,599 with the slightly larger battery, i7, and Full HD screen.
So we're looking at just under £2,000, 1,600 quid. And dare I ask about the MacBook Pro?
It starts at $2,349,
oh my God.
And that's with sort of the most basic specification. It can go all the way up to $2,699, or beyond if you upgrade the graphics even further, upgrade the RAM, or upgrade the SSD.
So you're looking at about $1,000 more than these, well, that one especially.
Yeah, and it is, I think at this end of the market, it is harder to see the benefits unless you are in the Mac ecosystem already.
So I guess the final question is, Michael Passingham, computing editor of Trusted Reviews, if you had to go out and buy one of these, which one would it be?
That's a huge question, and I hate the fact you asked me, but I think my head would always say the Dell XPS 15 because it is the best value. It is an all-rounder that is also the cheapest. So it is kind of hard to recommend anything else outright. Great machine for gaming, fantastic build, great software, sensible choice.
I think you're absolutely right. You can't go wrong with any of them. They're all terrific machines. So I hope that's helped. Thank you very much for watching. If you've got any questions, let us know in the comments. And we'll see you next time right here on Trusted Reviews.